Welcome home, sir. You need to pay attention to control the time today. With every passing hour, I remind you once. Enjoy your time, sir.
Hark, the legends return for part 7? 7. We have reached part 7. Honestly, I assumed the compiler would have claimed my soul by now, or that I would have abandoned this project to become a goat farmer in the mountains. Yet here we are, still coding, still suffering, still alive. Barely. Welcome back, noble wanderers. Thy persistence speaks volumes. Either thou art truly passionate about operating systems, or thou simply enjoyest watching others suffer. Both are valid reasons to be here. Grab thy preferred beverage, settle into thy chair, and prepare thyself. For today, we venture even deeper into the abyss than ever before. Our journey thus far, Part 1, we began this madness. We set up our environment, summoned the Rust compiler, and wrote our first bootloader. It was chaotic. It was confusing. It was beautiful in its own cursed way. Part 2, we expanded the foundation. We built core structures, wrestled with low-level code, and had multiple existential crises. The AI helped us. The AI also betrayed us. Such is the way of artificial intelligence. Part 3, we conquered interrupts and hardware communication. The messengers of the CPU now bow to our will. Mostly. Sometimes they rebel, but we have learned to crush such rebellions swiftly. Part 4, multitasking emerged from the void. We became puppet masters of time itself, forcing processes to share the CPU like greedy nobles at a medieval feast. Some starved. Such is scheduling. Such is life. Part 5, file systems arose from the chaos. We taught our OS to remember files after power loss, carving runes into disk sectors like ancient scribes. Directories formed. Files persisted. The disk, once a fickle beast that forgot our data on a whim, now serves our will with begrudging loyalty. Part 6, networking descended upon us like a storm. We exposed our precious kernel to the internet's infinite chaos. Packets flew through the ether. Sockets connected distant lands. Malicious actors tested our defenses from shadowy corners of the digital realm. We survived. Mostly. And now, Part 7. The saga continues with no clear end in sight. We are committed now. There is no escape. Only code. Only suffering. Only the eternal hope that one day this will all be worth it. Today, we push into system calls and user space, the final barrier between kernel and application. We have built the cathedral. Now we must open the doors to the faithful. We have constructed the kingdom. Now we must let the peasants inside. This is both exhilarating and absolutely terrifying. The OS is no longer primitive. It walks, it talks, it serves files and connects to networks. But it remains alone, trapped in kernel space, unable to let others touch its sacred memory. Today, we build the bridge system calls, the sacred API between kernel power and mere mortal programs. This is both exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. User space means trusting others with our creation. Any program could request resources, demand attention, crash everything with a single malformed request. We become not just builders, but gatekeepers. Not just architects, but security guards watching every entrance. The AI remains my companion through this darkness. Sometimes it guides me wisely, like a sage mentor sharing ancient knowledge. Other times it suggests, just use unsafe, and pretends innocence when everything burns down around us. Classic AI behavior. I have learned to trust its wisdom while fearing its confidence. We are at the stage where architecture matters more than ever. Individual pieces we built separately must now serve strangers. It's like opening a restaurant when thou hast only cooked for thyself. The guests are hungry, demanding, and some actively wish to poison the soup for sport. What we face, we are building the system call interface, the sacred API where user programs beg the kernel for favors. Memory allocation, file access, network sockets, process creation, signal handling. Each request must be validated, sanitized, and executed without compromising everything we have built. This requires context switching between protection rings. dropping from kernel privilege to userland and back again. One wrong move, and user code escapes its cage, corrupting the kernel's sacred memory, destroying our carefully constructed kingdom. The CPU's protection rings become our fortress walls, and we must guard every gate with our lives. We also face ABI design, deciding how arguments pass between worlds, how errors return to mortals, how compatibility persists across versions. Get this wrong, and every program we ever write breaks. The pressure is immense. The stakes are eternal. The documentation is contradictory. Rust continues to be our shield, but even the borrow checker trembles at kernel user boundaries. We must use unsafe code carefully, precisely, like a surgeon wielding a scalpel during an earthquake in a burning hospital. The compiler watches, judges, and occasionally forgives our transgressions. New suffering arrived. There were moments when the design seemed correct. Every syscall made sense. Every boundary was clear. Every security consideration was addressed. I pressed compile with confidence, expecting success. The CPU disagreed, violently. Page faults cascaded down my screen like a waterfall of privilege violations. Red screens everywhere. The hardware was not just rejecting my code. It was writing an essay about why my protection rings were wrong, with citations from the Intel manual and footnotes from AMD's architecture guides. I turned to the AI for salvation. "Help me," I pleaded, like a kernel begging the CPU for mercy. The AI examined the faults. It thought deeply. It provided a solution. The solution created 5 new vulnerabilities. This cycle repeated several times. Fix one ring, break another. It is the eternal dance of security. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, occasionally falling into a privilege escalation exploit. But eventually, through persistence and truly unhealthy amounts of caffeine, solutions emerged. The faults faded. The syscalls worked. Angels sang, or perhaps that was just the sound of my exhausted brain hallucinating successful context switches. Either way, I celebrated. Victory achieved. The operating system has grown beyond recognition. We have system calls that actually call, user programs that actually run without destroying everything, a kernel that shares power without surrendering its soul. This is not just theoretical progress. This is real, functional, working infrastructure that hosts programs we couldn't run before. I compiled a simple shell. It ran. I nearly wept with joy. Then I tried to run 2 programs at once and wept for different reasons, but we fixed it. Mostly. Looking at where we started versus where we are, genuine pride swells within me. Yes, it has been difficult. Yes, there were moments of despair. Yes, I considered that goat farming career more than once. But we are building something real, something that runs other things, something that might one day be complete enough to actually use. The dream of a fully functional operating system feels significantly less impossible today than it did yesterday, and that is progress. Slow, painful, caffeine-fueled progress. The road ahead, future episodes bring the final trials, a proper shell with job control and scripting. Device drivers for real hardware beyond our virtual machine. Perhaps even a windowing system if madness truly consumes us and the compiler permits such heresy. The compiler watches, waiting for weakness, ready to strike. But we shall face each challenge as it arrives, one episode at a time, one feature at a time. One mental breakdown at a time. This is the way. This has always been the way. This series continues until we have a working operating system or until the compiler finally defeats me. Currently, the odds are 60-40 in our favor. We are winning. Barely, but winning nonetheless. I call upon thee once more. If thou hast enjoyed this journey, smash that subscribe button like it owes thee money from a gambling debt. Hit the notification bell so thou never missest an episode of this beautiful disaster. Leave a comment below. Tell me thy thoughts. Share thy suggestions. Let me know what thou wishest to see in Part 8. Thy feedback shapes this series more than thou knowest. Thou art not just a viewer. Thou art a co-conspirator in this glorious madness. Share this video with fellow programmers. fellow masochists, or anyone who appreciates watching someone slowly lose their mind to a compiler while achieving impossible things. Every view, every like, every comment fuels this journey. Without thee, this quest ends. With thee, we march toward glory. Together we are stronger. Together we are madder. Together we shall prevail. Part 7 ends. Another chapter complete. We opened the gates between kernel and user and emerged with new code, new scars, and a functioning system call interface that actually works. Mostly. Sometimes. Under ideal conditions. Thank thee for watching. Thank thee for supporting. Thank thee for being part of this beautiful, cursed community. May thy code compile on the first try. May thy bugs be few and obvious. May thy stack never overflow. May thy system calls always return cleanly. May thy user programs never escape their cages. The compiler be with thee, brave souls, now and always. See thee in Part 8. Farewell, legends. Thou art appreciated more than thou knowest.